Good morning. Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? August 22nd is the day before I go on vacation, that's for sure. It's the middle of the week. They call this day Hump Day, but I've said before that this is the Lord's Day, okay? So I'm going to share a verse for today. Well, not for today. I'm going to share the verse of the day from the Bible app, the one that comes up. So here it is. It's Psalm 91, verse 2. This psalm, folks call this psalm a psalm of protection, that God protects, that God rescues. It's a psalm that talks about protection and rescue. So Psalm 91:2 says, I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge. What does that mean? He is my fortress, my God in whom I trust. Okay? I know this world is broken. And I talk to people, and there may be someone that will say, you know what, Jorge, like, I've been burnt too many times. I'm not going to trust. I've firmly figured out that if I distrust everything, I won't be burned. I won't be disappointed. So I think that's the best way to go. I figured out that the only way to move forward is you don't trust anything. So you don't believe or trust any person. You don't believe or trust any system, any government, any idea. That's really the way I'm moving about this, because I've been burned too many times. I'm not playing games and so on. You know how that idea comes crashing down? If I ask that person, okay, so you're saying that the way you're moving forward from now on in order to not get burned is you're just going to distrust the whole time. You're not trusting or believing in any person. You're not believing or trusting in any idea, any government, any relationship, nothing. You'll trust nothing. I'll ask them, do you trust that? Aren't you saying that what you firmly believe and firmly trust is that you have to move forward and distrust? So you are trusting, you are believing. You are believing in an idea. You are believing and trusting in somebody, namely yourself. So here's the point, that at a deeper level, at a foundational level, everybody has to place their trust and believe in something, whether they like it or not. They can say they don't, right? But it's a contradiction. Everybody must foundationally believe and trust in something, in some person, in some system, and so on. So this same person that says, you know what, I'm not trusting anything, any idea, any person, etc. Does he get in his car and go to work? Is he trusting his car that it's going to take him to his place of duty? Or does he have to do a 20-point inspection to make sure the car is maintenance worthy before he goes? So he is trusting things. Does he trust that the person that's driving right next to him also has a functional car that has good brakes? His brakes are not going to fail. Is he trusting that? Is he trusting in a system like our system of roads, traffic signs, stoplights, that those things will not create more collisions? Is he trusting in that system? Is he trusting in a person? Is he trusting in those folks driving on the oncoming traffic lane? Is he trusting that they're attentive drivers? That they just don't want to, today they're having a really bad day and they're thinking about ending it? Does he trust they're not going to come over to his side and collide at 80 miles an hour? I mean, ultimately, we do have to trust. Oh, he doesn't drive. Okay. Does he get on the metro? Is he trusting that conductor, right? Operating the train. You know that conductor has seasons that are great, but he also has seasons that he wants to forget. He also has relationship issues. He has work issues. He's trying to pay bills. He's frustrated. Sometimes he's, not feeling 100%. Sometimes he's angry. We're getting in that train and we're trusting that person. We're trusting the pilot on an airline. So you can't live saying that, no, I'm not going to trust, I'm not going to believe in these things. Ultimately, you do. You do have belief systems in place. Okay? So this Psalm 91:2, just says, hey, David is saying here, I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge, He is my fortress, my God in whom I trust. He's given us an example of what to trust, because obviously this is a broken world. I understand why we wouldn't want to trust anything. I mean, let me go back. So this is verse 91:2. Verse 91:1, it starts like this. He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. He who dwells, who abides in the shelter of the Most High, we're talking about God, the God of the Bible, will rest. See, you'll find comfort, you'll find rest, security, protection in the shadow of the Almighty. In other words, underneath His protection, in the shadow of the Almighty. You know what that verse is? That verse is 91:1. Psalm 91, verse 1, 911. And, that's a date that Americans won't forget for a really long time, right? We trusted all these systems and they came crashing down. These buildings. We thought that they were indestructible. They came crashing down. We thought our air defense system was impenetrable. It wasn't. We trusted institutions. We trust background checks and security clearance checks and all that stuff. Like these folks that conducted, this terrible act, they were trained in the United States of America. They were trained here. Do we trust the airport security? You know what I mean? So, we think of 911 and we have that like anxiety and fear, right? Still kind of lingering, because we're like, man, how did this happen? Did those folks, that were going about their business and didn't realize what hit them, literally didn't realize it, what were they trusting in? Hopefully the majority were trusting in something greater and outside of this world, something that transcends this world. They weren't just trusting in, the strength of the structure of the buildings. They weren't just trusting in our Air Force to prevent those things from happening. Hopefully they were trusting beyond that. So that same verse says, we dwell in the shelter of the Most High. That'll give us rest. We will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. 91 verse 1, 911. 911 is also the number that we call when we need help, when we're needing something, right? So the takeaway is we need to trust in something that's not of this world, because everything in this world at some point will fail. It's the law of entropy. It's, laws of relationships. Everything breaks down. Everything breaks down. Everything gets worn. There's material failure in cars and structures and so on, right? There's relationship failures. There's failures of all kinds within the world. So I do agree that we can't trust this world. And actually it is biblical. The Bible shows that we live in a broken world and that we must trust in something outside, beyond, that transcends this world, that's not part of this world, and therefore we can trust it because it isn't broken. Okay? So as you go about your day, think about when you're crossing the street, when you're getting in an elevator, like the pills that you're taking the supplements that you're taking today, or medicines from pharmaceutical companies that, what is their mission? To gain, the most profit possible. They have factories all over the world where there's, the cheapest labor. We trust all of this. We trust that the air we breathe, in the cities, it's not that bad because we have systems in place to keep the emissions from cars from getting, from going crazy. So we trust everything in this world because we have to. But we must trust in something that transcends this world. So we may not willingly trust stuff in this world, but ultimately we do. We have to believe. In order to live day to day, we have to believe in things of this world, in our government, in checks and balances, in people, in cars, in everything. That's okay, as long as you also put your greatest trust in God, in the God of the Bible, I have to say. So be blessed, and remember, trust God. He will provide the rest. He will provide the protection. All right? Peace.